What's good, guys? Today we are going to talk about something that is we both experienced on our healing journey, and that is about how our emotions, our fears, and our feelings actually kept us sick and
Right.
struggling with a chronic illness as we've tried to heal. And so we wanted to dive into that a little bit about specifically fear, because as we heal and as we go through our journey, a lot of fears come up. And whether they're, right in your face and you're aware of them, or whether they're sneaky and they're hidden and they're keeping you stuck in your comfort zone, this is something that I think both of us see a lot of people, including ourselves, keeps us stuck in this state of dysregulation, of chronic disease, chronic symptoms. And so we want to break that down a little bit on this video of like, what are some of these fears that keep us stuck, how to overcome them, and some things that we can do to not have our fears dictate our lives and allow ourselves to heal. So
Yeah, absolutely. So, the fears, the emotions, all these when
yeah,
you're in a chronic illness, even when you're not, they're lying to you a lot of the time. It's kind of like I know some of you guys have probably seen this, and if you're struggling, like if you're really struggling, this is free lunch for you. Like
yeah, yeah,
sit around, listen to the end, hit like, subscribe, guys. These are if you're looking for a way to get better. Joe and I are not gatekeeping on any information. We've talked to thousands of people that have gotten better, and we share that here on this channel. So, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel first and foremost. Pause whatever you're doing, hit subscribe. All right,
yeah.
don't be a punk.
Appreciate it, guys.
But yeah, appreciate it. But you guys ever seen that picture of it? Like it has a huge elephant and it has like a small string and it's tied to like a small chair, right? That's kind of what our mind is, and
Yeah,
that's our emotions, and that's literally what we think. And there's been many times where I'm stuck on the couch because I think I can't do this, or I'm just so depressed because of my situation, and I start to feel it and wallow in it, and then I start to get anxiety about my health, and next thing you know, I'm a whole ball of emotions,
yeah,
and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock, and I haven't moved my body, and I'm like, what's the point? I'm just going to spend the rest of the day on the couch. And what's happened is, while I might have a chronic illness and those symptoms might be impacting my day, I've allowed my emotions to control what is actually happening throughout the day.
yep,
And a lot of the times we develop these fears from, trauma-based situations related to our health. It's pretty ironic that a lot of the people that we talk to, when they get sick, they always have like a traumatic event that happens in their illness, whether it
mhm,
be these symptoms that they've never experienced before, or even just the act of getting sick and
yeah,
not getting better is traumatic in and of itself. And what that does subconsciously is it begins to brew these fears and these anxieties and these depression, or I was trying to think of a better word, but you get depression obviously because you're in these
yeah,
anxiety and fear provoking situations. So what happens is, as you try to heal, generally in the beginning of the journey, we're reaching out to these doctors. We're in these Lyme boards or these chronic illness boards, and we're looking for answers. And we think, oh, this person got better doing this. Now I'm going to go try antibiotics. And next thing you don't get any better, and you're still sick. So you get down on yourself and you're depressed. And there's not a cure. I'm never going to get better. This is the end. So you get depressed and you get stuck. And if you don't pull yourself up, which you're the only one that can, no one's coming to save
yeah,
you,
yeah,
as brutal as that may sound, you're going to stay stuck, and you're going to stay stuck for a long time until you choose. And this isn't the message, but this is what we've been talking about in class a lot: to be consistent and disciplined
yeah,
in managing your emotions. And it's not a medication. It's not a doctor. It's not that. There is a large part of your healing journey that requires you to do the work. And I think,
yep.
unfortunately, so much of that information has been suppressed by the medical community. They want you to take the pills. They want you to go see their
Yep.
dream. They want your money.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
here's free lunch, guys, like telling you what you can do. But here's the kicker: you can't get motivated off this message and be like, you know what, Josh and Joe said I can do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to get better. And you sit down on your couch and you're going to get punched in the face again because the symptoms suck. Being sick sucks. There's no way around it. It is like a huge ball of suck. But when you start doing the things, when you start minding your diet, when you start moving your body again, when you start taking care and tending to and taking those thoughts captive and understanding that we don't have to fear them, that we
yep,
don't have to act on every negative emotion, that we can surrender to them and let them go and choose to, hey, I'm going to get out and I'm going to go to the cafe today. Or like Joe does, I'm going to go get a matcha today. Or I'm going to go make a friend. I'm going to knit a sweater or whatever it is you guys want to do. You're getting out and you're doing something outside of your house. And as you guys begin to stack these days, you move your body, you do nervous system work to calm your dysregulated nervous system down. You'll see that things slowly begin to change. But here's the kicker. So many of us rely on motivation. We want these motivational posters. Back in the day
Yeah,
when I was working in the early 2000s, I'm not sure if you had them around your
yeah, yeah. The stupid
office show, but
posters.
just do it or soar high, and you'd see like the eagle in the background
Yeah,
doing it. And the reason I actually I did some research on this is they found that subconsciously it would motivate people. They'd see an eagle flying, and they're the corniest
really
posters
crazy.
ever,
Yeah,
and they think that there's a level of motivation behind it. But what they don't realize is motivation isn't going to create great workers unless it's spurring people towards discipline and consistency. So you will never get better unless you do the things we just talked about and you're consistent
yeah,
in being able to handle your emotions and your thoughts. And a lot of the times it comes with surrendering. If you can't change the circumstance that you're
yeah,
in and it's causing you a lot of depression and anxiety, you have to surrender to it. You have to let it go. You have to stop holding so strongly onto it, because what that's doing to you is making you more sick.
yeah,
How? Well, I'm going to tell you. When you're depressed, when you're anxious, cortisol and adrenaline cause the body to be inflamed, and whatever infection you have inside of your body is flaring. So now your GI tracks off, your immune system out of function, your hormones are crazy, and it's stress, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's your emotions. So how do we tend to those? We do a lot of guided meditations, we do walking, we do movement. These are all great ways that you can help heal. Also, food is a big part of this. Now, you're telling me, oh, you can just think your way to health? Absolutely not. It requires getting out and
yeah,
living. And this is where managing your emotions come. This is where the wall
yeah,
is a
yeah,
lot of the times you'll sit around the house and you'll think, well, I can't do that. And
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right. You're not going to be able to do it because you've told yourself, you've told your body, you've told your mind what you can't do. And it listens to what you say. You actually create the fears that you struggle with based on your words and your
mhm,
actions and how you respond to the fear and the depression. So if you respond to fear with more fear and you run from it, it becomes stronger and it
yeah, yeah,
grows and it grows and it grows until ultimately we face these things, we surrender to them, we allow them to pass through us, and we get to the other side. And this is where true healing begins. I
yeah.
could talk on this forever, Joe. I don't know if you had any.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to talk about something that, I experienced when I first began my healing journey, and a realization that I had, and this will hopefully help some people that are listening to this, because I think people don't realize, how much fear and their emotions, dictate their lives. And this was something that I realized long ago in my journey, prior to healing the first time I got sick. It was, I'd spent many years on the couch in bed, basically agoraphobic, not leaving my house. I was
Right,
fearful. I was fearful of my symptoms. I was fearful of the future, of how long they were going to last. Um, and I was fearful of doing things. I was so fearful of doing things, anything that would exacerbate symptoms. And I became kind of like a recluse inside. I became so fearful, avoidant of any and all situations in life. And
right,
if you would have told me back then, like, hey, fear is keeping you stuck and sick, like all of these symptoms, man, are so much worse because you're fearful of life. You're in your head thinking about all the worst case scenarios. You're over analyzing and obsessing over your symptoms. I would have been like, yeah, of course I am. I'm sick. Like, why wouldn't I?
right.
But there was something that I had to realize. It was like, yeah, my symptoms are there. Yeah, they suck. But I play more of a role in keeping myself stuck and sick
Mm.
than any of these symptoms because I was listening to my
I don't
fear.
want to interrupt you, Joe.
Yeah,
Do you think that message people would have resistance to that?
yeah, 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 they would.
Yeah.
They would. And that's the thing, is that it's a realization we all have to come to because, when it's really taking ownership of like where you play a part in your own sickness and or healing. And it's like, man, you got to realize, like, my fears, my phobias, these are really what is limiting my life. Yeah, the symptoms are there and they suck, and like, both of us were bedridden and sick for many years. But like once I realized I was piling fear on top of the symptoms and worry and stress on top of the symptoms and the illness, it was this perpetual cycle and this loop that kept me stuck and sick. And so, when we do like nervous system work and a lot of the things that Josh was talking about, it's it's not that we do them necessarily straight up just to heal the symptoms, because again, that's a fearful thing. It's to show safety to our body and move through life while the symptoms are there, and make peace with the symptoms while they're there. And you're probably telling yourself, well, how can I make peace with any of these symptoms? They're so disturbing and uncomfortable. And I'm telling you, like, that fighting against them doesn't work. It doesn't. If anyone's fighting against their symptoms right now and stressing and fearing them, and then fearing life, you're just stuck in that perpetual loop. So you almost have to break that cycle and recognize what is fear and what is actual truth. And this is something that I think is really, really important. Many people will be sick for months, years, thinking that basically all of their symptoms are going to kill them and that they're just, they can't do anything. And the actual truth is far from that. I know that both Josh and I have experienced this where we'll be having a rough day, or our symptoms will be loud. Or even when I relapsed 2.5 years ago, I was so sick, but as I began to slowly live in spite of my symptoms, I recognized, and there was a realization that I had many years ago, but again, it happened 2.5 years ago, that my body was capable of things, even with all the symptoms. Things that I didn't think I was capable of doing. Because of fear. Like, oh my God, if I go out and do this thing, I'm going to be so sick afterwards. Or
Right.
piling all these fears on top of symptoms. And when you stop listening to those fears and you actually, recognize them for what they are, it's just trying to keep you safe and stuck in a
Yeah.
comfort zone of illness, then you can kind of work through them. And then that's where I think it's really important, guys. Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
question for you,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
So, how many people? I mean, we've talked to hundreds of people at this point, but how many people would you say that come into the boot camp struggle with this? Because I know that we get some people. Well, I don't have fears associated with
It's
my illness.
everyone. It's literally
You feel
everyone.
like that's a lie?
Yeah, it's a lie. That's a lie. It's that they're not aware of the fears. And like I said when we first started chatting about this, I probably would have said the same thing when I was sick at first. I don't have fears. I'm not an anxious person. It's all because of my symptoms. And that's what's causing me the
The
issue,
illness,
the
right?
illness or my symptoms. But the reality is it's both. The fears feed into the symptoms feed into the fear, and the only way to stop it is by recognizing the fears of your symptoms of your life, and then choosing a different way, because the symptoms are not going to dissipate first. I promise you that. It's not going to be, let me fight my way through this and then symptoms get better. It's like you have to calm the fear response down, and then the symptoms respond better, and that's how it works. And so, for a lot of people, if you're listening to this and you kind of have fallen into that fear, stress trap that often happens when you get chronically ill, this is something that I want to encourage you to recognize, that you're playing a role, and this may be hard to hear. You're playing a role in keeping yourself self stuck and sick, and
Yeah.
you hold the key. You hold the key, and it doesn't mean that key unlocks everything and the symptoms magically disappear. But the key is when you make peace with the symptoms, and also stop letting fears and your feelings in general, and that's what we'll get into. Your feelings in general dictate your life, things will get better, because not only that, you'll recognize, oh, I can do things in life even while I feel like shit, even while I'm struggling. And when I do that, I actually notice that I feel better. And it's this, now you change the cycle from fear, stress, symptoms to, okay, symptoms, you're okay. Here, I'm going to take action in life. I'm going to show you. And then your body rewards you in that way. It's kind of like a new cycle that you create. And, and learning to distinguish, okay, what my body actually is telling me and what my needs are, and what is actually just fear and trying to keep me stuck in my safety comfort zone. And that's the key of learning that as well. So
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely. I think
yeah,
that when I interrupted Joe for a
yeah,
second to ask him a question about being resistant, I think that we get a lot of people,
yeah,
specifically males, that have a resistance to, and not to say that females don't have it either,
yeah,
but they're like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. This is all 100% of my symptoms. And this is what I would encourage a lot of people to do,
yeah,
is if you take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle and you write and feelings and emotions. This is nervous system stuff.
yeah,
This
yeah,
your feelings, your thoughts, all of these things, and they lie to you. They affect your nervous system.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right. So what I would encourage you to do is sit down. And I'm not saying that your disease is psychosomatic. And I think this is what people hear is when
yeah,
you tell them this stuff. No, nervous system stuff is real stuff. Like that's
yeah,
something
it's
that's
real.
real there. The doctors just don't address it. And we believe that it's caused by this chronic illness that then creates a trauma that then puts us in a fear cycle.
Yeah,
And next thing you know, our emotions are lying to us nonstop.
yeah,
What
yeah,
caused this constant cycle, this fear and depression cycle of what our body's telling us we're in constant danger. We can't do this, we can't do that. And it's lies, 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 straight
yeah,
from the pit of Hades. So, what I would encourage you guys to do, if there's any resistance to this, and this is what I did, is I wrote nervous system on one side, and then I wrote Lyme disease on the other. And I'm not to say that all your symptoms, but a large majority of your symptoms that you're dealing with, you go down. You draw a line down there and you go to Chat GPT. Don't even use Google. Nobody uses Google anymore. 2025. Or is it 2026?
it's 2025. What are you talking about?
Okay. I didn't know if we time traveled. I'm a little bit weird. All right. But anyway, go to Chat GPT and ask it what are some of the symptoms, or ask for an exhaustive list of the symptoms that come from a nervous system condition. And I don't want you guys to hyper focus on the symptoms. There's a purpose here. Then I want you to write your symptoms down. And then I want you to do, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, Pee Wee Herman would say, connect the dots, da, 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 da. All right.
Yeah,
So what
yeah,
you do is then begin to draw a line from one side to the other. And I would promise you that a large majority of your symptoms, you're going to be able to draw a line.
yeah,
So is it then possible to think that the emotions that are lying to you, the nervous system dysregulation, could this be causing a large part of your suffering? This is something that's going to get a lot of resistance, but I believe absolutely so because we see it in case after case after case. And we're not doctors. I've been sick for 20 years. Joe's been sick for 20 years. We've tried all these different treatments and talked to thousands and thousands of people that have been sick, that stayed sick, that got better. And we noticed the common threads, guys. And
yeah,
one of the things that we noticed was your emotions are lying to you.
yeah,
Like the fear of, I can't. If that's how you start off your sentences, well, I can't walk a mile. Well, yes, you can't because you're telling yourself you can't, but
yeah,
also your emotions are lying to you because self preservation is stepping in. And because of the trauma and because of the illness that you've experienced, now you have blockades that
yeah,
have been put there by your feelings and emotions. And the only way to get past those is obviously to go through them, but surrendering. And it's not like we're busting through white knuckling like bulls in a china shop.
yeah.
No, we're surrendering. We're peacefully walking through one step in front of another,
Mhm.
doing the tools that, or using the tools that Joe and I have talked about so much. And that's what I've had to realize on my journey is I had this fix me mentality. Doctor, fix me. Treatment,
Yeah,
fix
yeah,
me. Someone come save me. And in all reality, that's not it. Our bodies, when they're being fed nutritious food, when they're moving the way that they're supposed to be moving, because believe me, if you're laying on that
yeah.
couch, you're doing more harm to your body than the chronic illness and dysregulation is combined. I promise.
Mhm.
Talk to a cardiologist about it. And then we really begin to deal with a lot of the stuff that's up here because there is a lot of fears. There's a lot of self talk. There are these emotions that are lying to us. So it's like we're engaged in this battle and we don't want you guys to fight. We don't want you guys to fight. We want you
Yeah,
to surrender. When you surrender to that stuff and you choose to not believe it and you replace it with stuff and you practice gratitude and you work on, the heart brain connection, heart brain coherence is big. We talk about that a lot
yep,
and
yep,
we begin to restore that. I think a new modern marker is HRV, heart rate variability. You can then begin to see how your emotions dictate your physical health. So now
yep.
there's science behind it, and it's not all woo woo.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
your Apple Watches and the Aura Ring or whatever it's called, the main thing that it tracks now is HRV. It's no longer your heart rate or your oxygen saturation. It's your HRV.
Yeah.
So how is it that you lower that? Well, you mind your emotions. You surrender to them. You face them. You no longer allow them to have dominion over you and keep you sick and dictate your life.
Yeah.
How is it 100% your emotions that are responsible for you getting bit by a tick, or maybe you got long COVID or whatever? Absolutely not. That's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
Understand that you were probably stressed before. You probably weren't eating the greatest, or you have all these different factors that are going
Yeah.
on, and your
Lifestyle
cup
issues.
begins to fill and fill and fill. And then
Yeah.
the illness comes along and it overflows, and your body says, you know what? Screw you. I can't take
Yeah.
anymore. I'm going into protect mode. And just like a PC, when it gets a virus, it goes into protect mode. So there's no more damage that happens to it. And, the energy that's given to digestion slows down, and the energy that's given to your immune system. And now you're hyper focused on these emotions, on these fears, on all these things. And that's what we're trying to help you guys manage. And once you guys begin to manage that and bring down that level of dysregulation, and stop the cortisol and adrenaline, and get to a place where you're in rest and digest, what happens is amazing. There's a couple things that we don't really talk about. You actually start to lose weight because cortisol
Yeah.
sticks
Yeah.
around your belly, like it becomes belly fat.
Mhm.
Um, and so you have that. You begin moving again, so your body feels good. You're starting
Yeah.
to get a little more toned. And we're not saying you're going to the gym and lifting weights. We're talking about slowly working your way up, to walking a mile in the morning and a mile at night. And
Yeah.
that's what the body needs. And then you start really unpacking what's going on in here through meditation, through visualization, and then by beginning to create a life that you want to live. I
Yeah.
think so often in this journey, and this is all about our thoughts, we think, well, I can't live a productive life because I have X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
When in all reality, that's a lie. We're waiting. We're basically in limbo. For you guys that have seen Beetlejuice and they're in that waiting room,
Yeah.
that's where we're kind of hanging out, just waiting to die, or waiting to pass on or whatever. That's not true. Like, if
Yeah.
you live like that, you're going to die so much faster. What you need to do is have hope, and that hope needs to spur you towards belief. But how do you do that? You begin to create a future, and you don't just think about the final destination of being healed and
Yeah.
let those emotions dictate you, because then you're going to put heavy pressure on you. You realize it's a marathon, and you say, all right, screw you emotions. I feel you. I hear what you're trying to say. I'm choosing to heal. I'm going to create my life regardless of
Yeah.
how I feel. And that's going to serve as a distraction and also as a motivator that spurs you towards discipline, that's going to help you heal, guys. So it's a lot to unpack. I hope you guys got a pen and you take notes. But
Yeah.
guys, for y'all that are struggling, that are, you're sitting on the couch, you've went from doctor to doctor and you don't know what to do, if you listen to this advice, if you watch these videos, if you do this, you're going to get your life back. And honestly, not even back, your life could look substantially
Yeah.
better.
It could be
You
so
have
much
to
better.
believe in that. And you're responsible for your emotions, not a
Yeah.
medication, not a doctor.
Yeah, I wanna kind of touch on something that mentioned to you earlier, Josh, and it was an experience that actually had yesterday that illustrates this whole your feelings can dictate your life,
Right.
and the power that they have, and you might not even realize it. And so me and Josh are pretty far ahead in our healing journey. Both of us back at the gym multiple times a week. We live normal lives. We still have symptoms and symptomatic days, and we have rough days. From time to time, and that's just part of the healing journey. We've embraced that. But something that we've done on our journey is not listen to our feelings and allow our feelings to dictate our actions. And a perfect example of this for me happened last night, and I had like a kind of a funny moment where I recognized how even 2 years into the journey, sometimes feelings try to keep me from doing things that are good for me.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm
sabotage you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's so, I go to the gym 3, 4 times a week. I hadn't been in a few days. And last night it was kind of getting late. I hadn't gone to the gym at all. And I was like, I should go to the gym. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, like, I don't really feel like going to the gym. It's already kind of late, and immediately all I heard in a voice in my head that was like, your feelings don't matter. Like, do it anyway. And it's because I conditioned my brain to do that, but it was also like, you know what? Yeah, I don't feel like going, but who cares? That's not what the whole point is. The whole point of me going to the gym is not because I want to. In all reality, I don't even really like going to the gym that I like
Well,
the way it makes me feel, but I'm not
yeah.
some meathead like lifting weights, trying to get jacked and, whatever. Like I enjoy playing sports. I enjoy the way, I feel after getting endorphins from working out. But I realize like even further into the journey, like sometimes I'll be like, I don't feel like it, and I have to be the one to be like, I don't care that I don't feel like it. It's not about my feelings. It's about me doing things for my body so that I feel better in the long term. And that's what the important is, guys. Your feelings are going to lie to you. Your feelings are going to be like, I'll do it tomorrow. Your feelings are going to try to keep you in your comfort zone. Your feelings are going to be like, I'm not feeling up for that meditation tonight. You're taking that walk, because it's just a rough symptomatic day. Your feelings are lying to you. I'm telling you, your feelings are lying to you. And it's
Absolutely.
okay to practice, slow and steady approach. We're not saying, for me, like, I've been at the gym for 2 years now and I've had this slow and steady approach. At the beginning I wouldn't have, just gone on and lifted anyway. I would have, moved my body in a different way. But I think that that's what
Good.
the important point is, guys, is that if you're listening to your feelings and your emotions all the time about, I can't do this because I can't do this because I don't feel like it, or my symptoms are telling me this, or whatever, it's going to be a hard way to heal. You have to be the one to be like, I hear you, I see you, but you're not in control of me anymore. I'm moving in the direction of health and I'm doing the things that are not pushing myself, like self care and these things like going on walks, moving your
Not
body gently through yoga, qigong, things like that, meditation, breathing exercises, vagus nerve exercise. These are not pushing yourself. These are like necessary healing things.
Yep.
So, recognizing that and being like, okay, feelings, I get you're trying to keep me safe in my comfort zone of sickness, but I'm not listening to you anymore. We're moving in the direction of health and following that compass instead of my feelings are telling me this and I should listen to
Right.
my feelings. Your feelings are lying, guys. I hope you understand. We're compassionate, we're sympathetic of this, but not a lot of people talk about that, like how your feelings just straight up lie to you on this healing journey and try to keep you safe and in your comfort zone of sickness, even if it's not what you want. Even if it's
Yeah.
not what you want. There's that post that I made the other day, and we'll probably close it here soon. It was, healing is uncomfortable, staying sick is uncomfortable. You
You're
choose.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you choose your uncomfortable. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay sick or do you want to be uncomfortable trying to heal yourself and doing things that are going to actually not only help you heal, but at least allow you to enjoy your life while you're healing? And it's going
Yeah.
to be up and down, but that's part of it, guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in closing, guys, your hearts and emotions, like they tell you to follow your heart. Don't follow your heart. Like in this, like you follow your heart and emotions, like it's going to tell you a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Like follow your discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
disciplined. Follow your consistency. Like if Joe's consistent in going to the gym, but if you listen to your head, your heart, what you're not listening to your heart, you're listening to
Yeah.
you're listening to the neural pathways that are
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
firing toward. They're trying to get you to divert back to your old ways
Yeah.
because it's not that huge highway. We've carved a path out, so we're choosing the path. We're generally what we try to do is choose the path of least resistance. When in all reality, we got to grab the machete and we've got to forge that
Yeah.
path
Yeah.
out, and you do it. You're consistent. The more you trample on that path, you think about it. First there's jungle bush, and now the jungle bush is down, and next there's thick grass, and the more you walk on the thick grass turns to dirt. Now there's no grass anymore because you've blazed the trail, and it
Yeah.
becomes easier to travel. And now those thoughts are automatic. I get up and I don't even think about walking anymore. It's
Yeah.
become habitual.
Yeah.
It is because I'm disciplined and I'm consistent in this. And if I relied on my emotions or I don't feel well today, and guess we get it. There's some days that you can't go outside and take a walk to the end of the driveway. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's the simple act of showing up. And when Joe talks about the gym, we're not two meatheads there. There's definitely been days in my journey where it's been very difficult to go to the gym. That sometimes me showing up to the gym means I go to the massage chairs at
Yeah.
Planet
Yeah.
Fitness, and that's all I've got. But I
Yeah.
still chose to get in my car, drive there, and show up. And that's all that I had. And then maybe I go back 2 days later, I get on the recumbent bike, I lift a little bit of weights. We're not saying we're going in there
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but we show up because your body needs that to be able to heal.
Yeah.
So in closing, if you're listening to this and you're struggling, Joe and I don't claim to have all these answers that are secret ways to get better inside the class, but what we offer is guidance, support in the way of accountability. Everybody that comes in is assigned an accountability partner. Um, we have our No BS healing guide that you'll be getting upon in there. And we have a living, breathing community that we've cultivated towards healing. So
Yep.
it's people that are healing together that are in all different walks of this journey, whether it's fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, long COVID, chronic fatigue, whatever the label is. And we help people regulate their nervous system. Joe has his master's in nutrition. We help with diet and then with movement. So if you need that push, you need that
Yep.
encouragement, it is an incredible place to heal. We've got a couple spaces that are still open up in our class. It's only $111 a month. The link for it will be in our bio.
Yep.
You also have the ability to set up a free 15-minute phone call with Joe or I, where we can talk about the class and see if it's a good fit for you. Just as a reminder, nothing we've said is medical advice, and obviously you should consult your doctor if your third toe falls off. I'm just
For
kidding. No,
sure.
obviously this isn't medical advice, and please take that as such. Just two guys that have been on this journey that research the science, and
Yep.
we're fortunate enough to have had several doctors in our class
Hmm.
that are there and that co-sign a lot of what we say. So
Yep.
just
Yep.
going in that, understanding that. And the last part is, if you have a dream, guys, speak about it. And I'm going to take a brief moment to speak about it. Joe and I have a very, very big dream, and we're looking for investors that believe in a dream that's associated with healthy eating and creating a place that doesn't
Hmm.
compromise on ingredients, but not just one location, multiple locations, where we have a place that we can educate the culture on how
Hmm.
to eat and turn America's diet around. So if you know of someone that might vibe with, or you can put us in contact with someone, or maybe
Yep.
that's you, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. So
Yep.
you can get in touch with us by commenting, or you can email us, or visit thehealingdudes.com, and all of
Yep.
our information's there. We appreciate
Yep.
you guys tuning in today.
Appreciate it, guys. Happy healing.